There must be a reunion tour going on in Morgantown because there is some news, and it's pretty good for West Virginia. Five-star wide receiver Chris Henry. Interesting updates on him. Could he be coming to West Virginia? Well, there's some smoke there, so stick around to find out why on this episode of Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up? Welcome back in, guys. My name's Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. This is going to be brought to you by FanDuel, guys. Get started with the big return on FanDuel, guys. Place a $5 bet. Get started with $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Go there to get started. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, for being an everyday listener around here, guys. On the Locked On Podcast Network, we talk about your team every single day. So today I woke up to some stuff that, honestly, I didn't pay it much credence, because when I looked, let me share a screen with you guys. And for those listening on podcast, Chris Henry Jr., five-star wide receiver committed to Ohio State, posted something on his profile earlier. I think it was in the morning, earlier this past morning, and late. And it's a video of his dad catching a ball.
He wants to throw. He fires in the end zone. Ball caught. Touchdown. West Virginia wins. West Virginia wins. Chris Henry.
To Chris Henry, his dad, obviously, who played for the Bengals and tragically died standing in the back of a truck. Somebody pulled out, and he fell out and passed away due to a head trauma injury, which is just, what a crazy way to go that is. That's one of the great plays in West Virginia history there, by the way. Obviously, anytime you could beat them boys, it's a good day, right? I love beating Maryland. So, obviously, that got some people's ears pricked up. So, the first thing I thought of was, when did Chris die? This happened to be December 17th. That's 2 days away, right? So, logically, I'm like, okay, that must be the reason. I check in with a couple other people. That's what they thought as well. So, I wasn't the only person to have that thought. And then I thought, okay, well, there's no smoke to this. Obviously, he's just posting something about his dad. Obviously, that's no reason at all to think that he would be coming to West Virginia. Then I start looking around on his profile, and I don't see much of anything about Ohio State on there anymore, right? He's got some stuff down here below, but a lot of his stuff is Matter Day. He's got stuff about his brother, that kind of thing. Then we had kind of another small development. I don't even consider this a development, obviously. Let me get over here to my saved banners. So then this pops up, which is a future cast from the fans, which I thought this was from the people over at Rivals, but obviously 44% believe he will flip to West Virginia. I find that to be interesting too, obviously. This is a big-time player, guys, huge big-time player. So then I thought, well, that's still not enough, right? And I decided, you know what? Still not going to do a video on it, because that's just not enough evidence for me, like him putting a video of his dad and then also trying to put these pieces together, right? Him putting his dad up and then a future cast that's from the fans. I mean, sometimes fans know things, but it's rare, right? So then you look at who reposted this, and Adam Pacman Jones reposted a story from the Voice of Morgantown from today, breaking five-star receiver son of West Virginia legend coming home, ? Pacman Jones reposted that, he raised Chris Henry Jr. So, which was very great of him. Him and Chris Henry were obviously great friends. And so that to me is more meaningful than any of the rest of it. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not sitting here trying to feed you guys BS. But I think, at this point in time, everybody, Pacman is very much on the West Virginia train. He's very much a Richrod fan. And as a father, it wasn't viable for Chris to play for Richrod until today, right? Obviously, you're not going to send him to Jack State. I mean, no offense to Jack State. You barely want to send him to West Virginia. As far as like prestige goes, 5-star players don't come to West Virginia very often. We get our share of 4-star guys, and we get the occasional 5-star, but rare. This is one of those instances where it makes sense, right? This is an elite high school wide receiver, and would probably be one of the highest rated players we've ever had come into the program. I think he's just now 16 or 17, and dominates the landscape where he's at. He truly does. Let me see if I can find some highlights of his really quick to play you guys over on X, because he is a straight up animal, guys. He really is. He's exactly what we need. He's obviously got his dad's blood in him, which is no big surprise there, right? He's so fast, so long, so lanky, so fun to watch. He would be so good in a Richrod offense that's just tailored to whatever he does best. Let's see. Yeah, there's a couple clips of him on here, so I'll play them. They're on his profile if you want to check them out, by the way, on Chris Henry, on his X. So here is a video, 5 seconds long. As you can see right here, hits him in the slot. There he is outside. He just dominates. Look at that block. It's a block. Look at this block right here. I thought it was going to be a receiving catch, but for those of you listening on podcasts, these are highlights on his X page. Here's some more clips of obviously an incredible start-stop ability at 6'3", 6'4". Just a complete beast. And somebody that will probably for us. Obviously at the receiver spot. He looks just like his dad. Unbelievable how he looks just like his dad. Might we actually see him catch a ball here? There he is right there. He looks just like his dad. I mean, that's what it is. He's a big-time target. 6'4", possibly going to get to 6'5", might be 6'3". I haven't looked officially, but that's what he looks like just looking at it. Well, look, here he is right here standing beside somebody on the right here. I mean, he's a very big kid, and he's still grown. He's only 16 years old. And as you look at his profile, you see Auburn, you see Texas, you see Florida State, LSU, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State. So for us to pull this off, it's going to be almost take a miracle. No doubt about that. Here's another kind of grainy video we'll watch and see if we can see the ball in his hands in a real play. Nope, it's more blocking, guys. You think this guy's got a hard edge? Look at these blocks. What kind of awesome player puts highlights of their blocks up on their page? Most people don't do. That's crazy to me. That makes me want him so bad that he's putting that on there like that. Most people put highlights of them catching the ball. Nope, his first 2 highlights are, and here's a West Virginia gift, of him blocking. Pretty incredible stuff, man. See,
pick it up, Maddox.
Right here on the turn this off. See if we can see him here. There he is. There he is. Great catch radius, obviously. So that's what he's great for, too, obviously. He's such a weapon. Anyways, if you want to see more on him, I would suggest going to YouTube. Oh, no. We don't want that. That'll get me hit. Okay, here's some video of him catching the ball, and we'll be done. This is him running routes in shorts, but you kind of get a feel for his ball tracking. He catches the ball with his hands. Here he is one-on-one against the DB. Oh, so smooth. So smooth. Gosh, guys, we would be so lucky. If I'm Richrod, man, I allocate. I say, what are they paying you? Right out of high school, this kid starts. Like this is one of those players that start right out of high school for sure. Physically, he's ready. Look at those smooth strides. Oh, gosh, it would kill me to watch him catch balls in an Ohio State jersey. I'm not going to lie. Man, obviously, I don't know what's going to happen here, but it sounds like there's a little bit of smoke to it. Richrod being back obviously gives us a shot. And I would say 70-30. I'm leaning Ohio State to us. It's just going to be extremely hard to pull somebody away from Ohio State. If Ohio State loses in the playoff and Ryan Day gets fired, like some speculate, then that's a whole nother ball of wax, obviously. Then we stand a really good chance. We already do, being that, a lot of people feel like he may flip here. And look, Richrod's only been here a week. So I'd say Pac-Man's probably working on him. And if like I said, Pacman Jones reposted an article about the son that he raised because his best friend passed away. That's decent. It was enough for me to make a video on and say, hey, look, there might be some smoke here. Normally I don't, I like to have more solid stuff than that. But okay, I'm sorry, Cheers Beers. They said the videos weren't showing on screen clearly. Sorry about that. Sometimes they don't, but I like to try to bring more solid stuff usually. But in this case, I thought, well, since Pac-Man reposted it, I decided to go ahead and go with it. Hopefully nobody's mad at me for that, but I feel like it was newsworthy and something to keep an eye on. I mean, at the very least, you want to be educated, right, as a West Virginia fan on who we may be looking at, who we may be trying to get. And I would say absolutely look at this player. So just my opinion on it. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez is looking a couple different directions for a defensive coordinator. Which way might he lean, and what are the names involved? They're almost as impressive as anything else he's done so far. Stick around, guys. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by FanDuel, guys. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and that's all in one convenient place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can view the latest stats, check out the latest play-by-play, and so much more. On the same page, you place your bets, making it very convenient. Join FanDuel.com today to get started. Don't forget, you'll get 150 bonus bet if you win that first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Never, ever, 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 ever waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, and an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. And we are back. So interesting stuff here when it comes to the Richrod defensive coordinator pick. Let me get the article back up here. I had it pulled up, and then I went left on some of the X deal. So I'm going to read this from Sports Illustrated here. If I can get it to load. Here we go. So this is from Skylar Callahan. This is an article he wrote. It says a young, fast riser could be West Virginia's next defensive coordinator. Zack Alley would be a home run hire for Rich Rodriguez and the West Virginia Mountaineers. This is by Skylar Callahan from 9 hours ago. The very first thing West Virginia head coach Rich Rodriguez has to do is put a staff together, ideally starting with finding a defensive coordinator. There is no set scheme Rodriguez is searching for, and, well, he does have a few guys in mind. Quoting Richrod, it depends on the coordinator hire. I got a couple I've talked to, and they're different, Rodriguez said on Thursday, and everybody runs the same everything now. Defensively, whether it's an odd stack or an even front, everybody has certain personnel packages they use for their own defense, but I'm going to pick the D coordinator first. I have a really good one because I have the resources to hire a really good one, really, really good one. And then from there, I'll build out the defensive staff. There's not one particular scheme that I want other than I want to be really aggressive and force the issue, so to speak, on the other team. While Rodriguez doesn't seem to mind what the defensive scheme is, his teams have had great success with the 3-3-5 in his first stint in Morgantown. That doesn't mean he'll lean in that direction, but he has ties with a lot of guys who have experience running it, one of which is Zack Alley, who is currently the co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach at Oklahoma. His relationship with Oklahoma head coach Brent Venables goes back to 2011 when he served as a student assistant under him on the staff at Clemson. So that's pretty impressive. Alley remained at Clemson through the 2018 season before moving on to take his first position coach job at the inside linebackers coach at Boise. After 2 years in Boise, Terry Bowden named him the defensive coordinator at University of Louisiana Monroe in 2021, making him the youngest coordinator at the FBS level at 27. There, he met Rich Rodriguez, who was the offensive coordinator for the Warhawks. He was so impressed by Alley's coaching and ability to scheme a defense that he brought him to Jacksonville State the following year to serve as his defensive coordinator. Alley's unit finished 33rd in scoring defense and 43rd in total defense, and the Gamecocks were stout against the running line, 2.8 yards per carry, while causing a ton of havoc, creating 25 turnovers, 16 picks, and 13th place finish nationally in sacks per game at 2.9. That's really impressive stuff, guys. That success has carried over into his new post at Oklahoma. First year on the job, the Sooners have seen a drastic improvement in 4 key defensive statistical categories. Total defense has gone from 389 yards per game, which was 60th, all the way down to rank 20, 324 yards a game. So a 40-spot improvement in 1 year. Pass defense has gone from 100th at 250 to 63rd at 218. Rush defense is at 138.9, which was 42nd in 2023. Now it's 11th at 105.7. Scoring defense, 23.5, which is 41st. 2024, 22.3, 31st. So 10-spot improvement there. Alley's approach fits the exact style Rodriguez wants to play. Fast, physical, and aggressive. But the one thing he needs, and he adds, is that he throws in pre-snap movement. There's a lot of movement, which causes the picture to change for the quarterback and often puts him in a tough spot. The defense will line a throw. They'll throw a lot of twists and stunts to make things even more difficult to handle. He does a really good job of mixing things up visually, creating a guessing game as to where the pressure is coming from next and who is dropping in coverage. He ran a lot of odd stat at Jack State, but he did mix a healthy dose of 4 downs in as well. He's able to adapt the personnel which he has, which is probably the most impressive part about him for being such a young coordinator. That's awesome, right? And I think he would be a great pick, obviously. And look, you can't go wrong with a guy that's already coaching at Oklahoma, right? I mean, come on. He has done an incredible job at Oklahoma just in one season, and Richrod was so impressed with him. He brought him with him to Jack State, which only lasted 1 year. He's my top choice. Based on everything I've researched, he's by far the best candidate available. And I think there are other guys on the list. Obviously, you look at Jamil Adai. He, for nostalgic purposes, I would love to see Jamil Adai get the job. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it yet. He's ready for a hire, I think. He's definitely the best recruiter of the bunch, and I would love it. I've been texting with him on and off for a couple of weeks, trying to schedule an interview. He's so busy that he's always – he had a game today with the Bills. So, I guess Adai is a guy that would be kind of hard to get a hold of right now. But, and what's he supposed to do, leave the Bills in the middle of the season? There's a lot of stuff that I would have questions about. Obviously, he plays an important role in that staff. So timing may be an issue with Jamil Adai, which is, unfortunate. So outside of him, the other guy most think will get the job, Louisiana Tech Jeremiah Johnson. He's really a good defensive coordinator as well. He's been there for a couple of years. He was at Kent State. He spent some time at Northern Iowa, like 15 years, I think, which was like almost 10 of that at D coordinator. And he's had top 10 defenses in the FCS, like 5-6 times. So he's a guy too, I think, you would look at for Richrod to try to bring in as DC. So I would favor one of the three. And those would be the guys I would look to. And they're the obvious names. Obviously, I didn't know about Zack Alley till yesterday. Wes Euler put his name out there on X, and I started researching who he was right away because Wes Euler knows what he's talking about usually when it comes to candidates, that kind of thing. So he said, look, I hope Richrod's going after Zack Alley. So I said, well, who is this guy? And I started looking into it and realized, okay, this is a guy that's been around. This is a guy that's really young, a guy that may even be able to succeed Richrod someday. I mean, I'm not saying that, obviously that's getting way ahead of myself. I'm just talking about a 28-year-old defensive coordinator in Oklahoma. He's obviously got star written all over him. Same thing with Adai is another guy. And then obviously this Jeremiah Johnson guy who I don't know a lot about at all, but certainly impressive to have the kind of numbers he's put up. And now he's doing it at the Division I level. Let's see, Jeremiah Smith, La Tech, D coordinator. Let's just see who he is. Let's see. All right. So he's young as well. Let's see. No, that can't be him. It keeps giving me the Ohio State player. I was going to say, he wasn't born in 2005, was he? Let's see. So obviously a lot of his time has been at Northern Iowa, which has been, guys come up from that level all the time and do a great job. Obviously calling plays at the FCS level. He looks like he's probably 40, 45 years old just from looking at him. Certainly. Let's see. Here's what La Tech's page says about him. Actually, let's go to break first, and then we'll talk about Jeremiah Johnson just a little bit more. Somebody I think could be the next D coordinator for West Virginia, obviously. Stick around, guys. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by college football on TNT. It's that time of year. The college football playoff is back, and with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to get bigger and better every year, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st, starting with the college football playoff kickoff show presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern, leading into our first matchup with SMU battling Penn State at noon. Then Clemson Tigers look to upset Texas in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the college football playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. That was the first time I've ever seen that ad read there, guys. Okay, so here's a La Tech, what they have to say about Jeremiah Smith. Louisiana Tech football head coach Sonny Cumbie announced the hiring of Jeremiah Johnson as the Bulldogs DC in December 2023. An innovative and experienced defensive mind, Johnson arrives in Ruston from Northern Iowa, where he spent the 2023 season as defensive coordinator following a one-year stint at Kent State, where he served in the same capacity in 2022. Before Kent State, he was 15 seasons in Northern Iowa, including 9 as DC. During his 16 seasons at Northern Iowa, he coached 32 first-team All-Missouri Valley Conference defenders, 5 Defensive Players of the Year, 1 Buck Buchanan Award winner, 15 All-Americans, 7 AFCA All-Americans, 15 AP All-Americans, and has also coached several defenders who went to play professionally, including Miami offensive cornerback Elijah Campbell, Las Vegas Raiders defensive end Ellerson Smith, defensive lineman in 2022 CFL Grey Cup champion Jared Brinkman, and they won 4 conference titles while he was there in Cedar Falls from 07 to 21 and 23. So he's got a ton of success under his belt too. He's not as splashy of a name as a Zack Alley or even a Jamil Adai, but certainly he seems to be the other name that people are mentioning right now. And with Richrod, you never freaking know. It could go a million different ways. It could be another name out there for sure. But at the end of the day, guys, I trust, just like we trust in Ren, we trust in Richrod too. And I think whoever he hires is going to be really good, really aggressive, and is going to serve us well. Hopefully, anyways. Hopefully the resources are there like he thinks they are, and they're not screwing him this time. Because let's be honest, guys, we were all talked about Richrod leaving us, but he got screwed too when he was at West Virginia. A lot of people still don't talk about that as much. People do, but not everybody. So obviously he wasn't given the resources. He wasn't given the facilities. He wasn't given the support from Ed Pastalong, which is the worst AD in the history of ADs, or president, whichever he was at the time. So I'm glad we're where we are at this process, and hopefully we can make this thing right, guys. I am so excited about the future for West Virginia football. If you are too, hit that like button, guys. If you're just on your phone, move your thumb over a few inches and just hit like. Hit the notification bell so you get all this stuff. Leave a comment below if you need anything from me, guys. I don't mind to help you in any way, shape, or form if you need it. Yeah, if you want to get on and do your own thing on here and talk about sports, I'm always an ear to listen to, or somebody to help. I've helped a few people get, there's a lot of info involved with being a content creator. So if it's ever something you want to do, I'm all ears, guys, and I would love to help you guys. I've had a few people reach out the last few days. Other than that, not a lot else to talk about. Obviously, if you're just joining, Chris Henry Jr., a succession of events led up to me doing this video. Number one, he posted a video of his dad last night, which made me think, okay, well, maybe. But, they looked at the date and his dad died December 17th. So I thought, well, maybe not, because that's probably he's missing his dad. Then, obviously, Voice of Morgantown and others wrote an article on it. And I thought, well, I looked at those, and it was because of the video. And I thought, well, that's not enough for me. People can do what they want. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, I wasn't ready to go on do a video on it yet. And then Pacman Jones reposted Voice of Morgantown's article. So that to me was like, oh, my ears pricked up now. And then there's a future cast out there from the fan side, which I can show you both of these things before we go. If you're just getting here, obviously this is the future cast. 44% of the fan future cast thinks he'll go to West Virginia now. This is something just to, I wouldn't put a lot of stock into it, but I mean, it's there. It's something. It looks cool. And then obviously this year, Pacman Jones reposted this article from the Voice of Morgantown, which says a lot more than anything else. To get a 5-star flip from Ohio State would be amazing, guys. All right, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like the button. Subscribe, man. Hit that subscribe button. It says 80% of the people watching aren't subscribed. I would really appreciate it if you could. If you're on X, come over to YouTube. Spend 30 seconds to do that for me. Hit the like button. Comment below. Tell me I'm stupid if you want, but I would appreciate the engagement. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we get some more news regarding this team. And I'll also be doing a West Virginia-Memphis preview for the game. So be ready for that too. I'll see you then. Also, thank you for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys. Do me a favor and make Locked On Big 12 podcast your second listen. Derek Toll leads the conversation in conference realignment news, and he pulls no punches when it comes to talking about the Big 12. Go to him on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, and I'll do the same for you right here on Locked On West Virginia. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Hopefully we find some information out this coming week as to who transfers, who flips, who defensive coordinators and staff. All that's coming. Stay here for Locked On West Virginia, and I will update you daily on those things. All right, guys, have a great night and enjoy your Sunday. I'm out.